Hello, everybody. This is Gilgamesh. And I've chosen for today a fascinating verse from Song of Songs, chapter 8, verse 6. It reads, Simeni, kachotam al livecha, kachotam al zorueka ki azah kamavet ahava, kasha ki sheol hina, rashafea rishfe esh shelchevetya. So roughly translated, this is, place me like a seal upon thy heart, like a seal upon thy arm. For strong like death is love, hard like hell is jealousy. Her flame are flames of fire, well, there's no like. Her flames are flames of fire, flames. We actually need to talk about that last word, but let's try and take this apart. Okay. Simeni. Simeni, place me. So this is a call, it is a hollow verb here. It's used quite a lot, put or place, or to appoint. This is an imperative, masculine singular, so this is commanding someone to place me, which is the first person pronominal suffix here as a direct object. So place me, like we have here the kof preposition. Chotam. Chotam is a fun word here. We have not a very common word. It's used a few places. We see it in Job, we see it in Ezekiel, it shows up in Exodus and even Genesis and First Kings. It's a seal. It's sometimes an elaborately made seal. This is actually the word we use where we get the word signet ring from. It is used for engraving, for sealing clay, mold of clay, or a stencil to seal the lips, to seal a wicked wife. A person can be a seal, and we see that in Jeremiah 22:24 and Haggai 2:23. And then, of course, the verse we're looking at here, where we're placing a seal upon the heart and the arm. So, place me like a seal. And this is a song between lovers here. And this is saying that the lover wants to be placed like a seal upon thy heart. So the fact that this is a masculine singular second person pronominal suffix here, thy heart, your heart, tells us that this is the female lover that is singing at the moment. Place me as a seal upon your heart. Very nice poetic thing. Like a seal, so we're repeating here an obvious parallelism, upon your arm. So we have a nice little parallel here, like a seal upon your heart, like a seal upon your arm. Now, when we talk about a seal upon the heart and a seal upon the arm, it does bring us back to the statement in Deuteronomy about binding the word of the Lord upon your heart and upon your arm, and as a frontlet between your eyes and that sort of stuff. Could be a reference to that, or this could just be that the heart and the arm were common symbols for the important parts of human understanding and thought. The arm representing power and movement, and the heart, of course, representing feelings and intellect. So the first line is pretty simple. Then we start with the second part of the verse here. For azah. This is an adjective. It is a feminine singular adjective, and it means strong. For strong, like death. Kamavet, like death. Strong like death, ahava, love. This is a feminine singular noun, and so the adjective refers to this noun. Love is strong like death. That's interesting. We don't often think of death as something that is strong, but that is precisely how they're putting it here, that love is strong like death. And then we have here another adjective, kasha, which is also a feminine singular adjective, which means severe or harsh. So kasha is severe or harsh, ki sheol, like Sheol. Sheol, of course, is translated as hell often. It is the netherworld, the realm of the dead. It is as hard as the netherworld, as hard as the underworld. And so we have here obvious parallels between this. We have the word here strong, parallel to kasha, which is hard or difficult. We have like death, parallel to like Sheol. And so death and Sheol are parallels to each other. Then we have Kina. Kina is jealousy, zeal. When we talk about that God is a jealous God, this is the word they use. And so this is saying jealousy here, and probably because of the context of this being a love song, we are talking about here feelings of jealousy that are associated with love, and that is Rashafea Rishpe. So Rashafea, this is a very interesting word. Etymology uncertain, probably a personal name, comparable with the Samaritan rosh, to inflame. In Middle Hebrew, reshef comes to mean flame. This may also be the meaning of the name Rashab. Thus, these people here, and they give the reference here, the one who burns. It is connected with the Akkadian verb rashabu, to be awe-inspiring, demanding reverence. So there is a deity here that is called Reshef, and both derivations here evoke the sinister features which are the essence of this deity who was worshipped throughout the Near East. Reshef was actually identified with the Babylonian god Nergal, and can similarly be regarded as the god of the underworld, a god of plagues, a god of war. By contrast, the name of this god appears in the Ugaritic lists of gods and sacrifices, where he is seen to have a friendly disposition. Personal names, including Rasap and Rashap, are found both in Ebla and in Mari. For personal names in Ugaritic, and it gives you some references there, and the particular characteristics of this god shown in personal names include aspects of death and also fertility. So this is a deity that is associated with death and fertility. And since we have just been talking about death in this verse, it does make us very suspicious that we are talking about some connection to this deity that was throughout the Near East. And since this is a love song, the idea that it is linked to fertility is also very profound. So this is saying that her, this is the feminine pronominal suffix here, her reshef are the reshefs of fire. So we have it connected here to fire. So, of course, a lot of translations will go with that her flames are flames of fire, but that misses the connection here to this deity, which was a deity of one who burns, that is associated with the underworld and also fertility. So we are evoking a lot of cultural imagery with this. Now, whether they specifically are referencing this deity in the Song of Songs, or whether this is a simple drawing on the cultural milieu of what this deity represents, being both death and fertility, is uncertain. But we're saying here the concept is that love is this terrible thing that's like death, but it's also this wonderful thing. Seal me on your heart and on your arm, because this thing of love is so profound, so burning, that it's like death, it's like Sheol, and that jealousy, these feelings that are associated with love, they are like flames of fire. And then we have the problematic last word. This last word here, it's a hapax legomenon, which means that it does not occur anywhere else. It says here textual uncertainty. The versions differ, preferring to paraphrase in order to explain the Masoretic text. The Septuagint has their sparks are sparks of fire, their flames. The Vulgate has their flashes are flashes of fire and flame. We have here some suggestions that this should actually be two words, Shelhevet Yah, the flame of Yah, which could mean lightning. And then there's another alternative here that perhaps this is an intensive form of Shelhevet. And then a second thing here is a conjectural thing that perhaps we should insert a second word here and read it something like Shelhavot Yah, Shalhavotea. Flames of Yah are her flames, which is actually what the BHS suggests up here, is that maybe we're missing something. Now, if I were to switch over to BHQ, which is the newer version of BHS, it actually has a footnote here that mentions that Mishael ben Uziel mentions this case as one of the 8 cases where the text of the Ben Naphtali tradition differs from that of the Ben Asher tradition. These are Masoretic scribes. The Ben Asher tradition is the one that our text comes from. The Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex are both part of the Ben Asher tradition, but there was a competing group of Masoretes that were under the Ben Naphtali tradition, and this is one of the 8 cases where the text differs, and apparently in the Ben Naphtali, it was as 2 words, Shel Hevet Yah. And so it gives us a reference there for that. Going back to our main text here, really we don't know what this last word means. If I were to scroll up a little bit here in the lexicon, you would see that the word Shel Hevet is actually a word that means flame. We just don't know why it has this Yah on the end. So the idea that it was 2 words makes sense. Now, this is not an overly religious text, so referring to it as the flame of Yah seems a stretch. But this word here, Shel Hevet, does show up in a few places, including Exodus 3:2 and Ezekiel 21:3 and so forth, and also in Job. It's conjectured in a few other places, but it shows up, and it itself is a weird word because lahav is the Hebrew word for flame. And you can see this obviously has lahav. And so lehevet would be flame of in a construct state. So what's up with the sheen at the beginning? Well, the lexicon tells us that is an Aramaism, that it is prefixed with this sheen, the shah, which happens in Aramaic. It's sort of the equivalent of the word asher, but it's prefixed with this shah, and that is what happened here to form this other word that looks a lot like the word for flame. Doesn't help us much as to why is it here at the end, because it's not really needed in the verse. Her flames are flames of fire, flames, or her flames. It does not feel complete. And so that is why they're thinking maybe this was supposed to be a parallel of some kind and that we're missing a word here, that a word dropped out. So maybe it read something like, her flames are flames of fire, her flames are flames of Yah. That could work. But unfortunately, this is the mystery we're sometimes left with. So bottom line, love's a pretty tough subject, and sometimes it burns. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and join us on Discord, and we'll see you in the next one.